What's good, Moto fam? JD here with Supercross.com. Today we've got with us Mr. Jensen Hendler. How you doing, boss man?
Doing pretty good, man. Just up here in Washington, got to come home. That's really good. I left just after Christmas. I got two small kids, so they're happy to see me for sure, and it's good to be back for sure.
Dude, I didn't know that. So you have two. I remember you saying you haven't been home yet, but when you have two, look, when you got any little ones, actually, every week it just gets a little longer, man. I'm glad you got a chance to
Yeah.
go home. How old are they?
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I've got two kids, one 7, my son's 7, and my daughter will be 10 in May, and
Nice.
he'll actually be 8 next month. But yeah, it's tough. I come home and actually I came home just before last weekend for 2 days, and the kids are like, "Oh, you're leaving again?" And I said, "Yeah, just a couple days this time, then I'll be home." But they just want to get out and ride, and they want to see me. We got a new puppy this year. I
Nice.
flew her in from Florida, so that was cool to catch up and see her. She's getting big, so yeah.
Very cool, very cool. So you and I, we kind of just been either texting or joking around or visiting in these past couple of rounds, man. And as we've had a chance to chat, I really wanted you to come on because not only does JMC have a really good story, you guys, man, you made a lot of waves at the bike, man, in San Diego. That thing, it was awesome. It seriously super impressive. So
Yeah.
let's start out. Let's talk about kind of the team first, and then let's talk about what your week is like and what you kind of have to square up from one round to another. So let's start with JMC first. Tell us about the team.
Cool. So the JMC team, we're actually based out of Tri-Cities, Washington, which is in the southeast corner of Washington. We're actually in the same desert Phoenix, Arizona's in. We're just in the northern tip of it.
Okay.
Right where the Snake River meets the Columbia. There's three little towns. That's where we're at. And we're actually owned by a dealership, JMC Motorsports. We're a Husqvarna Arctic Cat Honda dealer. I've actually been with the team or at the dealership for 7 years this month, which is pretty cool. But when I first got here, we had no lines, just JMC. We were pretty much just a parts service shop, just me and another guy in the shop and two parts people and a service rider. And I mean, pretty small facility. I mean, they had only been maybe open 2 years at that point, I think. So, and then now we have a huge shop, big shop. I have my own, like all the race team stuff's done in one side of it. All the in-house, we're a WP authorized center, so all the WP suspension for the team and customer stuff gets done back there.
Okay.
There's a bay for the amateur guy, and then I have my own area for engine stuff and team stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, just the team started in 2016, so we're on like our fourth year
Oh
now,
wow.
fifth year now. Started really small. It actually kind of started by accident. It's kind of a weird story, but Noah McConaughey and Chris Howell reached out to us to build them some race bikes for 2016. We got the bikes done, and we told them that we would go to the first round, and I'm one to help them get through the first round and just make sure everything was good with the bikes and whatnot. And then their plan was to just kind of go on and do their own bike work, do their own thing. They were racing out of two vans. But the owner of JMC, Joel Mishka and Michelle Mishka, they came to the race, and they saw that just like, how big of a deal it was. They had never really been to a Supercross event at that level,
Okay.
and seen just the amount of work that goes into it. And they were like, there's absolutely no way these two guys can do this by themselves, just in the fact that, in between races or heats or practices or whatever, there's so much bike work that needs to be done, and they've still got to recoup and get their body turned around. So we just kind of started it from there. We ended up going to all the rounds with them that year. And then the next year we bought a fun mover, did it out of a fun mover. Then we bought a Renegade the next year. We ran that for 2 years. And then we got a semi. We actually had it for last year, but we only used it at, well, that's a lie. We had it the year before. We just only used it at Seattle. We just weren't quite ready. We weren't staffed up yet. I mean, it takes a whole crew of people to put that thing together every weekend.
Yeah.
And we just weren't quite ready for that. So we moved it into full use for 2019, and then obviously we're using it now. So yeah, that's kind of the progression of the team. But and then my role for the team, originally I was a rider mechanic and doing all the engines, and then it got to a point where 2018, where we had enough riders, we had 3 riders, and there was just no way I could give each rider my attention and be a rider mechanic, just because there's so much time that goes into just prepping the bike from each time it sees the track.
Right.
And if someone needs my help, whether it's pulling data from data acquisition or remapping or anything like from a crash, I could jump in and help that person. So I became crew chief then. And then last year when we signed Carson Brown, we wanted him coming in as a rookie. We were already familiar with each other. We'd worked with each other. I've known him since he was a little kid. I used to race pit bikes. Okay. Obviously, his dad is Dwayne Brown, the owner of BBR, him and his brothers. And so I met them when Carson was just a little kid. He was probably like 6 or 7 years old. And so I've known him for a long time. And we just decided, with the relationship we already have and the trust he has already instilled in me, that I would be his rider mechanic for 2019. So I went ahead and did that. And then this year, I worked for him at A1 just because he didn't have a mechanic set up yet for A1. And then I worked for him last weekend at San Diego, just in the fact that his mechanic was our amateur mechanic. So he went home after Oakland, so I stepped in last weekend, which was great because he needed me.
Right.
Sure.
So he went back home. Tell us how the rest of the year shapes up for you guys. What rounds you're doing, what rounds you're not doing.
So we'll continue with the 250 West Series, which starts over again for Seattle. Right. We'll do Denver and then Vegas and the finale at Salt Lake. So we'll do the whole entire 250 West. Okay. And then this weekend, the owner dropped on me that we're doing some outdoors too. So I think for sure, 100% sure we're doing the first 3. Okay. Always Washougal because it's a hometown race. But I think we're going to try to put something together so they can do them all.
Oh, nice.
That's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
Dude, nationals are cool.
Yeah, they're cool. It's tough on me because the 250, the engines that we run are pushed to the limits. And when you run outdoors, they put a lot of stress on the engine. So it creates a lot of work for me, which is fine. I'd like to see them do it on 250s. We have a solid bike. Obviously, we pulled some hole shots at Phoenix, 2 hole shots out of the 3 mains, yep, which is pretty solid for the longest start straight of the year. Mm-hmm. Martin Costello did awesome on that. That was pretty cool. I don't have any Supercross main event hole shots in my hat, so it was good to get that for sure.
Very cool. And which, like you said, Huskies, so that says a lot about the bike anyway. Like you guys, though. Yeah. You were telling me, kind of how you guys have progressed with Husky at this point. And one of the things I wanted to bring up is, kind of, or talk about more or less, is kind of what you take care of during the week. Because, dude, you're a busy man. You're a busy man.
Yes, sir.
We got to schedule this. So tell us a little bit about the workload during the week.
Right. So after Christmas, when I went out, we brought 3 race bikes down, which being that we're based in Washington, it's really tough to, pull their mechanic away from California and practicing to come up here to build race bikes. So I built all 3 race bikes from scratch the first time, and then we deliver them. But and then my primary role is the engine development, all that stuff, which is all done in-house up here in Washington. We don't get any support from anybody as far as engine development goes, so I do all that myself. We use Vortex ECUs. I do all the mapping. That's all my role. And then just during the week, I do the crew chief stuff. But engine stuff's all me for sure. Big shout out to the guys at Wasner Pistons in Germany. They helped me a ton. Really these engines are really good. They're not a bottom mid-range engine. They're a motocross engine. So to convert this engine from something that's primarily built for motocross to a Supercross specific engine package, there's a lot that really does go into it. But with the platform and how good it is, it would really surprise somebody that, we're whole shotting Supercross main events against all the factory guys with $1 million budgets.
Right.
And if you saw my engine apart, it's nothing radical. It really isn't. We're just doing a really good job, and with development and all the stuff that we do to tailor it specifically for Supercross. It's all about torque and front side horsepower. It's not about that peak number.
Right.
You run data on the bike, and it would really surprise someone that these riders are wide open less than 5% of the time, which is surprising.
So keeping in that same line with the bike. Okay, last weekend I had a chance to chat with you just briefly about the bike because you had mentioned it to me before. You're like, we got something special for San Diego, and so I was excited about it. Tell us a little bit more about that bike and that setup for last weekend.
So specifically because Feld does military appreciation for the San Diego event, it hits home for all of us. I think everybody it hits home for as an American, and the freedoms that we have and the stuff that we are able to do every day is because of our military and the people that have sacrificed their lives, so that we can be free and do whatever we want and go play and have fun and be free. And that hits home for me. I have friends that were in the military. I have family that was in the military. I currently have a nephew that's got deployed when stuff went south about a month ago. So, it hit home for us and everybody. We wanted to make sure we did something super special for this event. A Cherubies came through. They actually next day aired these plastics from Italy, which was probably not cheap. I've heard somewhere around the sum of about $1,200 to send these plastics.
Yeah.
So they built these one-off tan plastics, which I'm sure you guys all saw. They're like an army tannish, color. And so we wanted to really emphasize that. So we did like a desert camo theme graphics setup. No color on the logos, just all black and tan. And then the guys at Guts Racing, actually, I reached out to them and told them kind of what ideas that I had. And he ended up building us an all-black seat with tan pleats on it. And the material, he actually had to go to a upholstery shop down the street and was looking for this certain color. And they were like, oh, we don't have anything. And then evidently they found a piece of scrap in the garbage or something from what I was told. So he ended up building us some awesome seats.
It was tough.
Obviously, again, yeah. So the guys at Dynamic Design, they do our team graphics. They did a really awesome job with that. And then ODI came through with some like Army, like they almost looked like the PC bikes where they had like that silverish look with the bolts and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like an old airplane. And then they put an Army logo on the top, which was pretty cool. So that was really cool, tied it all in. But we wanted to do like a Chris Kyle themed bike, the American Sniper, if you're not familiar with his name. But so we wanted to do a Chris Kyle theme. And so we put some snipers kind of hidden in the graphics in some weird spots. You couldn't really tell, but it was cool. And then for press on Friday, we actually ran number 150 on the front number plate, which is his confirmed kills. Right. And then we emphasized that it's not really about the 150 kills. It's more about like the lives that he saved. How many people did he save by taking out those 150 people, right? It's all about people saved. So we ran the 150 on the front, and then on the side panel, we ran just a big American flag on the side panel, which was pretty cool. So it turned out really cool. And then, of course, because that stuff's not AMA legal, we switched for normal numbers for the races. But yeah, it really turned out cool.
Media day. Sure. It was perfect for media day.
Yeah, it was great. It grabbed a ton of traction. I had a lot of magazine people and all kinds of different venues wanting to take pictures of it on Friday, which was fun. I got to push it out, and it just grabbed a ton of traction. I think it's such a one-off event, and to do something like that, we've done it in the past. We did some military themed bikes last year, but of course, with the weather, it was pretty nasty, so it was tough. But yeah, this one turned out really good. Like I said, we're thankful for the people that came through. Obviously, all our sponsors come through every weekend, but there were some specific people that came through to really make this one shine for sure.
Well, cool. And I'm glad you mentioned that because when you're talking about sponsors, I don't want us to forget anybody.
Right.
JMC, you guys, you've got some people you want to make sure we give a shout out to. Let's do that
Sure.
now. Try not to
Yeah.
leave anybody out.
So I've got a list here, so I'll go off that. But one thing I would like to say is the owner's son, Jordan Mishka, he does all our YouTube stuff. Be
Really?
sure to check those out because like I feel like we're the only ones in the pits that are doing these weekly videos, and he goes through and pulls so much content that he makes these videos every week, and then he'll have midweek videos if he's doing something special. But be sure to check the YouTube page out because there's always tons of stuff you can learn from that if you weren't standing there, you wouldn't know it ever happened. So it just gives that insight to the fan
Dude,
that
you
they've
gotta
never
you
seen.
gotta send me that link. You gotta send me that link
Yeah,
so I can
we'll
put
do.
it in the description. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'll just kind of go off this list. They're in no order as far as support or whatever. But yeah, JMC, obviously that's a key one. Fly Racing USA, Integrity Electric, WPS, Alliance Steel, Horn Rapids MX, McCormick Excavation, Custom Floor Heating, CDC Drywall, California Drywall Company, EBC Guy, River's Edge, X Pro foot pegs. Those things are pretty sick. River's Edge. Did I already say that? Yeah. Owens Meat, Steel Core, Recluse, ODI, Dynamic Designs Graphics, Yoshimura, Liquid Moly Oil, Ren Fuel, Asset Protection Group, Tri-City Tool Solutions, Acherubies USA, DT1 Filters, ARC Levers, Dunlop, Guts Racing, Technical Touch USA, Xtrig, and obviously Husqvarna Motorcycles USA. Hopefully I didn't forget anybody.
That's all right,
but
for real. And like I was saying, let's make sure if you get me their handle, then I can tag them as well. But
for sure.
man, I'm glad we got a chance to give them a shout out. So far we've had a chance to cover a team. We talked about workload. We talked about a little bit of history, and we talked about the bike from last week. We got a chance to give some shout outs. I think that's pretty much everything that we wanted to cover. I mean, the only other thing is definitely the YouTube channel. Like, if you guys
Sure.
have got a good channel, I want to make sure everybody who wants to follow gets a chance to
Sure.
follow, especially if it's
Yeah,
good
definitely.
content that he's doing every week.
Yeah, it's definitely really good, like I said, because I think like we're the only ones doing this, and I don't know why every other team isn't doing it. It's huge for the fan. I mean, like I get people all the time that are just like, dude, the YouTube videos are so sick because they get to see the
Right,
stuff that nobody sees. I
right,
mean,
right,
like
right,
unless you're working for a team, you don't see everything that happens, every day and what we're doing every day. And
right.
I mean, our schedules are insane. Like, when I'm staying in California, I'm at the practice track with those guys every day. We're always developing. I'm doing practice engines in the semi. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, race engines in the semi. It's nonstop, 24 hours a day. And it, that's kind of maybe why it's a little bit of a relief to be home a little bit. I get to come home at night and, just work at the shop during the day. I did 3 engines today, just trying to get everybody caught up. I think I got 6 engines on the rack that I need to finish. So there's tons of stuff going on. I mean, our amateur stuff keeps me busy sometimes too because I do their engines also.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just nonstop, man, nonstop.
Well, man, I don't want to keep you from your babies, but I do want to tell you I'll probably swing by for a visit on the way to Seattle.
Yeah, you
We're gonna,
definitely should.
yep, seriously.
That would be
Now,
sick.
now that you've mentioned it, I gotta come check the spot out. So,
Yeah, definitely.
dude, I appreciate you making the time. Like I said, I know you're busy. You got a lot on your plate, but
Yeah,
I'll be by the pit again. Like whenever we
absolutely.
get a chance, we'll visit some more.
Well, yeah, I want to thank you for sure for giving us this opportunity to do this. It means a lot to us. I mean, we're a small team, and any type of media we can get, we're on it, and we try to be as friendly as possible, and like interact with everybody, and even fans, and all the media sources, and so on and so forth. Like, you know, Carson's doing really good right now, and
Yeah,
it's like it's kind of a bummer that we got to take 6 weeks off now. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
we were steamrolling and just getting better every weekend, and he's riding really good. Same with Martin. I mean,
yeah.
he's getting better every weekend. A1 was so rough for him. He got cleaned out twice by stuff completely out of his control. And so he's as him being our veteran rider, we kind of left him alone preseason, and he was doing his thing, and he was awesome. He was consistent, and he's still showing all that, but he just keeps having these little things happen to him that has affected his results, because he's just as good as or better than Carson. Yeah. So, to get 2 guys in the top 10 would be phenomenal, So, and it's coming. It's coming.
It's progressive.
Sure.
Definitely progressive.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Okay, man. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you
worries.
again.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Thank you. All right, bye.